Okay, so Sonic.
Yeah. So 57 million domestic in the
Hmm.
first weekend.
I
Um,
think it's more than doubling its next highest competitor at the box office, isn't it?
oh, wow. Nice. Okay. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's great.
At
Um,
least it was when I last
sure.
looked. So.
I mean, I haven't seen it. I've heard that it's
Hmm.
a great family movie, great for kids, and
Yep.
they love it and stuff, and that it's kind of a love letter to Sonic fans. So even if you're maybe older than the intended audience, if you're a fan of Sonic, you'll like it. So
Right.
it'd be interested in
Right.
seeing it sometime.
Yeah. I think it's pretty good nostalgia for kids of the 90s
Mm-hmm.
who grew up playing Sonic.
Yep.
Um so I do want to I think this is sort of like a thing that I kind of want to talk about a little bit this week, especially when it comes to movies. So, for Sonic the Hedgehog, I personally didn't weigh in on this, but I remember the first releasing of trailers and bits of the movie had fans in an uproar
Yep.
over the CGI and the creation of Sonic.
Yep.
So that they had to go back and redo the entire character and reshoot basically the entire movie.
Right.
From or at least what
Well,
they had so far, which I
reanimate,
thought was pretty substantial.
reanimate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
reanimate,
Mm-hmm.
reanimate, reanimate. But I mean, you have to reshoot those scenes with animation. You know what I mean? I
Well,
guess I yeah,
I mean, I would
it's
say the footage,
semantics.
yeah, the footage should have been able to stay. They just have to literally redraw everything. So I'm
Hmm.
sure it was a lot of
Right,
overtime for whoever.
right.
So hopefully
Whoever
they,
had to suffer through that.
yeah, hopefully they recoup their costs, in having to do
Right,
that. Um,
right. Do you think that sort of like fan outcry is now justified by how well Sonic is doing?
well,
That's my question because I mean sometimes it's really hard like how much input should fans have in this sort of thing? Like, is this because this is a success story now? Is this
yeah,
justified that fans were so outraged that that the studio bowed and redid it?
so I don't, so, there's a quote, never bend the knee to the rage mob ever. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. But if you're making something for people, it's really just on you, who your audience is, and if
Hmm.
you're going to please that audience or not. That's kind of, and I
Hmm.
know it's hard to tell sometimes. So it must have been
Yeah,
loud enough, and they thought it legitimate enough. I
sure.
wouldn't be surprised if there was conflict within the studio when it was being made. People being like,
Mm,
that does not look like Sonic. That's the wrong path. And then you
sure.
had other execs being, no, we need it more lifelike. We're not going to do the same thing or whatever. And so it's already that. And then there's an outpouring online that, like, that is creepy as hell. Please
Yeah,
don't do
because
that.
it was.
And then the
It was
memes, it
definitely creepy
became
as
memes
hell.
everywhere. Yeah. So, I
Yes.
mean, you just have to make that judgment call. Twitter is an echo
Okay.
chamber, and it's like 7% of the United States population. Most people did not weigh in on this issue, so it really has to be
Yeah.
that call of the studio. Like, are there enough good intentioned people that we're trying to sell this movie to that are not gonna go
Sure.
see it, or is it a bunch of trolls? Like, it's gonna have to be on them and their marketing research teams, I guess.
Sure. And I do think it's a little different in this case. Obviously there have been other, fan outcries to the way that movies have been written or ended or, the
Mm-hmm.
way a story has gone. And I think that's a bit different than, just like fan outcry saying like, hey, this character looks super creepy. You have to redo it. We don't, you know what I mean? Like they weren't outcrying about the story. It wasn't necessarily like the movie that was being made. It was literally the character.
Mm-hmm.
But still it's if not the exact same situation, it's similar. So I was just curious about
Yeah,
your take on that.
I mean, I think if I like when if you're an artiste and you have a vision, you're a creative
Uh-huh.
person, you're a creator, and you have a vision. I like that if those people can get their vision to paper to screen to
Hmm.
whatever. That's nice, um, and that's important. Um, but you need to balance that with like, well, do you know, who, like you say, who is your audience? Who are you trying to
Hmm.
please? And like, do you just want to have this thing out there that may or may not do well, but it's what you envisioned? Or do you want to have
Hmm.
something that you can be happy with and is successful? So, and
Hmm.
I think anytime you're not independent, which is almost never in film, you're going to
Right.
have to answer to, we need people to like this too. So,
Right. Right.
and no matter
Yeah,
what we say, the rage mob will continue. The outcry will continue.
true.
So,
True. Yes. Yeah. If it's not Sonic, they'll have moved on to something else.
yep.
Um,
Hmm.
but it certainly seems that, the studio now made the right call given
Hmm.
its success, obviously.
Yeah.
So, it luckily worked out for them because
Yeah.
who knows what the box office would have looked like.
Yeah. I mean, people could say how great it is, and I wouldn't be interested with the other character because it looked like a person wearing a Sonic suit.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, studios have now seen the dangers, I think, of making those sort of things too human and realistic that people hate. Because not only was there outcry for Sonic the Hedgehog, but cats. Like, people friggin' hated that they look so humanoid. It is creepy
Yep.
as hell.
Yep.
So, and obviously, cats took like a total dump at the office. So, or the box office.
Think
So,
of
I mean,
that.
it's,
Yeah. Think of that wasted money all on that cast.
yes.
That's a big
Yes.
cast of high
Yes.
profile names.
Yeah, it is a lot of money between what they had to do with CGI and hiring that cast. Dame Judi Dench don't work for free.
And
Like,
why did all those people sign up for
I
this? I mean, I would be
know,
desperate
I
for someone to ask
know.
me to be in this movie and say
Oh
yes. Like if I was
God.
getting my
I mean,
start in Hollywood.
yes. Yes, I don't even know the main character. I know she's relatively unknown. So I get her and I hate to be super mean, but I get somebody like maybe Rebel Wilson getting in there.
Okay,
Um
sure.
but Judi Dench, Ian McKellen,
Yeah, I know.
Idris Elba,
I know.
Taylor Swift, for goodness sake.
What
I
do
mean,
they
I know
have
she's
on
not
these
an actress,
people?
but like,
What do they
yeah,
have on them?
dang.
They're like,
Didn't it seem like a total just like, okay, we're just gonna blackmail all these people into joining
yeah.
this cast?
Were they
Like,
in
I
Scientology? I
do
didn't know
not
about
know.
it, and they have all their confessions,
Right,
and yeah, I don't know.
right. Yeah, no,
Well,
that whole movie is a total head scratcher to me. I mean, casting, CGI, everything, but
yep.
I do hear that it's a trend now to go watch that movie while you're rolling.
Okay. Okay.
To just like totally high. Some people have had some like really great experiences where they just like find the movie just like hilariously fantastic and wonderful.
Yep.
And then some people have had some like truly like freak out moments, like
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 nightmares now. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So it's a gamble, but if you want to join some internet trends, there's one for you.
Okay.